Guys, good evening. Pratheesh here. So today's video will look for the trade plan for tomorrow with respect to Nifty and Bank Nifty. So quickly we'll go to Nifty charts. So this is the Nifty hourly profile charts plotted on a 30-minute time frame, powered by tradingview.com. So yesterday in the market, what happened was there was a spike towards the closing session. The spike was somewhere around 22,310 to like 22,400 levels. Already 90 to 100 point spike was there. So the bias was that, okay, so we had a large spike. So most probably we'll balance in the spike. Then we'll decide the direction. So the bias was a bit bullish that we had yesterday, that acceptance of spike is considered to be bullish, or a gap up opening or a drive above the spike high is considered to be ultra bullish. But the opposite case is that if we ignore the spike completely and open below the spike bid, that is roughly somewhere around below 22,310, then probably we can consider that previous day, end of the day, we got a spike, and that spike is considered to be an emotional one, and there's nothing to do with that. Okay, so that was a bias. But what happened today was market opened higher, okay, making an open equal to high at around 22,448. So when this spike was displayed yesterday, our bias was that, okay, if we get a higher opening, if we get a gap up opening, or say like open inside this range and all the way, we start moving higher, then probably it is ultra bullish kind of scenario. So market again today, there was a kind of a gap up opening. So if that happens, we have mentioned that, okay, this POC somewhere around, or else this particular distribution is there. No? The distribution that happened on, just a minute. Okay, so we'll use this tool. Now you can see here, there was tail over here. Tail over here. This is your POC. Then there was a small distribution. And from there, price started to collapse. So the bias was that, so that we face resistance somewhere around here, this particular band, somewhere around 450, like 450, 480 band, or 440 to 480 band. That was the band marked for resistance. And if that band is being violated, okay, then we'll go and tag this 520 to 590. So once 520 to 590 is getting value, we'll look for the higher levels. That was the bias. So market opened gap up, but did not sustain there. Immediately we got a gap got closed. Immediately gap got closed, and we got a rejection somewhere around 450, 440 levels. That band, 440, 480 band, rejected price, and they started coming back and closing the gap, and the entire day it was trading in a narrow range, most probably within the initial balance. Okay, there are few minor swipes of IB, but most of the price action was within the IB, and it looks like a clean long liquidation profile. Okay, tail at the top and consolidation at the bottom. So kind of a long liquidation profile. So long liquidation profile indicates that profit booking might be happening, because market rallied from 21,800 odd levels. So right, 13 was the low, from 21,800 all the way to 22,400 within 3 sessions. So obviously there could be some kind of profit booking, so that you got a long liquidation profile. At the end of the day, nothing happened, nothing much happened for the day. It was a clean long liquidation profile. So every time, as I told you in your previous one of the videos, what is the reason for making a long liquidation profile? So as long as long liquidation profile, once you get to confirm that a long liquidation making, possibly you can do that by the end of IB, or even after the IB, or else after C period is getting completed. Okay. by the end of 3 periods until around 10:45, you could get a valid confirmation that this is likely to be a long liquidation day. So you have to buy at the bottom and sell at the top. Sell at the top means whenever you see rejections near the established tail of the developing long liquidation profile, you have to go and look for selling opportunities near the tail zone. This is the tail zone. So forget about all these price action. Look at first 3 bars. So A, B, and C. This bar closes at around 10:45. So assume that you have got 3 bars. Within that, you are confirming that this is going to be a long liquidation profile. Now, our idea is that there was a look below the IB, getting back into the IB. So there was a good possible trade here. Okay, on a lower time frame, you would have got a better entry here. Look below the IB and back inside the IB. So that was a good opportunity to put on a long trade, targeting the tail zone of your established tail zone. Okay, so this is your established tail zone for the first 3 bars. Then you are waiting for a trade. So long liquidation in the sense you have to look for selling opportunities near the tail zone, and you have to look for buying opportunities at the bottom of the profile, okay, with a very tight stops. So here you are getting a valid information. You can even confirm on a lower time frame charts using order flow or using price action. You would get a good entry over here. Possibly you could not expect the bigger targets because whenever the price reaches the selling tail of that particular profile, sellers will come. Okay, then they'll try to push the market down. So probably your exit is near the tail. And from the tail, again, you will get some kind of shorting opportunity. Okay, if you are getting a kind of shorting opportunity in your lower time frame, so that is a good entry to take a short trade at the tail where you could see a rejection in the lower time frame charts. Then you can always target towards the lower end of the profile. So 2 trades you can do before say like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, somewhere around. Before 1:30 to 2 o'clock, there could be a 2 trades, one at the long and one on the short side. Okay, it can happen vice versa also. First you will get a short and later on you will get a long. But 2 trades are possible on a long liquidation day if you understand the core concept behind why long liquidation is happening and how to trade this effectively. Okay, so that is being done today. With all this context in place, now we are getting a long liquidation here. So value is there. So where you go, you are getting this value. This value is now within the spike. So as I told you that previous day that we got a spike at the closing session. All of a sudden, market rallied 90 points from a well-established balance. So we call that as a spike because these price was running very fast from 90 points within 3 bars of the 30-minute time frame, whereas rest of the bar it was trading in a sideways move. All of a sudden, market started rallying higher. So price was making an attempt where value migration possibilities are very low. So today you got a value, and that spike is getting value. So spike getting value is a kind of a bullish bias. Okay, spike getting value is a kind of a bullish bias. So bulls are scoring 1 points over here. But another contra information that you're getting is your value area placements are higher. Okay, it's not overlapping to higher, it's completely higher value area development you are getting today. But closing, okay, the closing price was below the value. This is not a good sign for the bulls. Okay, one positive is that we are getting value in the spike, so that is considered positive for the bulls. At the same time, the negative sentiment for bulls is that in spite of having a higher value session, we are closing below the value area low. This is a sign of weakness. So one positive, one negative. So net makes it a neutral. So at this point of time, we are taking a neutral approach. We are not bullish or we are not bearish. We are taking a neutral approach. Why? Because value building in the spike is bullish, but the closing price on a higher value session, closing price was below the value area. So it is a bearish, not a bullish outcome. I cannot say that it's a bearish, but it's not valid for taking a bullish bias. So next session, you will get a confirmation. Okay, out of these 2 things, any one will get additional points. Bulls will get additional points so that you can validate the price action for the next session only. You cannot, you do not know what happens to the market, and the next day, say like it can open gap up, gap down, or if it opens gap up, the bulls are going to score additional points, so that we turn bullish. At this point of time, we are neutral. So this is okay. This is a long liquidation profile. Now, bulls, what they need to do is that they need to open higher above the value area high or near the tail zone. So tail zone is somewhere around here. The value zone is somewhere around here. So which roughly comes around 22,400 or 404 to the high is somewhere around 22,418. High in the sense the tail. Okay. So 400 to 420, roughly if you calculate, it should be somewhere around 400 to 420 is your zone. If the bulls are able to get a gap up opening or stay above 400 to 420 early in the session, okay, they say like they open flat, okay, they open inside range, all of a sudden price started shooting higher, and we are able to sustain above 400 to 420, then probably bulls will gain momentum towards targeting 480. Okay, 480. First they'll target the day high, previous day high 450, 480, then 520. 520 possibly will get a rejection. Then we need to see whether that rejection is able to take support at the previous day high or not. And based on that, again, we'll decide whether there is any opportunity to for breaking that 520 or 590 zone. Okay. So at this point of time, I am neutral. Okay. I'll turn bullish if you get an acceptance above 420 early in the session. Okay, tomorrow early in the session, if you are getting an acceptance above this 420 to 400 to 420, I'll turn bullish, and my targets are towards 480, and maximum targets are 480 or 520. That will be my immediate target. Later on, we'll analyze what should be done after targeting 520. Okay, whether I want to hold on to my trades and all these things, I cannot say at this point of time. But what happens at 520, you need to observe, and then you have to decide whether to hold the trade or profit book the trade or hedge the trade, whatever you want, you can do that. Okay, that is from bullish point of view. And say like market opens or market breaks this today's low. Okay, if market breaks today's low, then probably 22, 280, 300, this particular band will act as a support. 280, 300 band, obviously it will act as a support. And then we'll try to oscillate between this 420 to 28. Okay, this is the trading zone. Because if we take support here, then it will, from here, it will try to oscillate between these two levels. In case if markets are not able to take support at 280, we trade lower, then probably we'll come and close this gap. There was a small gap at around what is that gap zone? That gap zone is somewhere around here, right? 22, 170, 180 or 185 zone. So few points gap was there. So straight away after below 22 to 280, we'll come and close this gap. Okay. 170, roughly put 170, and this pivot is very important, 120. So this will be your next set of support, and if price not able to hold this value very high, and if it dips below this BPOC, then this double distribution, single multi distribution profile is there. We have got so many anomalies in between these profiles, so these extension singles will act as a further supports. Okay, so that is likely to happen. Why? Because why I'm saying is because say like market rallied from this particular level 21.8 to this one. Now, if you look at if you plot a volume profile for the entire move that happened from the low to the high, okay, you can see here the maximum volume concentration is now happened at this area. Why? Because this is the area where price traded for a larger amount of time. Okay, considering last 3 days, last 2 days price was moving higher, right? So that it did not spend time at a particular level for a very longer period of time. So that's why you are not able to generate a maximum volume at a particular range. Whereas today, the entire day we were spending at in a particular range, roughly somewhere around 340 to 400 levels. So within 60-point range, the entire day was trading. So most of the volumes got attracted. So from here to the top to bottom, or from the bottom to top, if you look, most of the volumes have been concentrated at these levels. So if price is not able to sustain above this 400, 420 levels, then obviously we'll drop it down to test this particular level, because this they'll try to fill these LVN zones between these profiles. These LVN zones are there, no, from today's low with respect to 280. So we'll try to fill this. Then again we'll take support and then we'll go. If this 280 is dropped, 280 is gone, then they'll come and target these LVN zones, which is somewhere very close to this POC and this particular band, this value area low and this POC. This area they'll try to cover it, and then they'll take support and they'll oscillate. If by chance, if this POC, if this HVN is given, then they'll come and target these areas. They'll try to fill in all these LVNs. Okay, step by step this process will happen. So if at all Nifty want to ignore all these things, then they need to immediately get above 420 and stay higher. All these refilling will happen at a later point of time. Okay. So that is at this point of time with respect to Nifty. Now let us go to Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty, we got yesterday a neutral extreme update. Okay. Failed auction was there. It broke both sides of the IB, and we closed at the day high, making it as a neutral extreme day. So obviously after a neutral extreme update, we are expected to get a follow through higher, and that happened today via gap up opening again, opening equal to high here. 48,175.55 was recorded at the high, and that high is somewhere very close to the POC of this particular day, that is on 15th April. 15th April POC was somewhere around 48,160. So market opened very close to that level, okay, or slightly higher, a few points above that, unable to sustain above this level, and then they immediately dropped down to close the gap. And an entire day again, the same kind of scenario what happened in Nifty, the same kind of scenario was there. The entire day it was trading inside the IB, and there was a mild swipe when price tried to enter into this 47,900 that we spoke yesterday, that below 47,900 we are likely to be bearish for that day. So price was holding 47,900 for the entire day, and at a particular point of time around 115, we got a sharp dip towards 47,900. But there was some kind of responsive buying coming over here, and they started pulling the price up, and they closed within the IB. So it's a kind of a more or less rotational day, and here also the same thing, neutral extreme day, getting follow through higher with respect to higher value session. But the only problem is that again the same thing, higher value session closing down, okay, closing below the value area low. It's not a good sign for the bulls. So if they want to invalidate this particular closing setup, that is higher value closing, and the price is below the value area, if they want to invalidate this particular scenario, then immediately they need to stay above 4800 for the next session, okay, above the value area, roughly 4850 to 4800. So if price accepts above 4800 for the next session, that is, you got a tail over here. So if you see price getting accepted inside this tail of today's profile, then probably you can target towards the supply zone. So you have marked the supply zone yesterday, okay, because if you get a neutral extreme update and there was a follow through, probably we could go near 265 and then reject. But market reacted near this VPOC and they started coming down. Now we have this price accepting inside this tail, will go and target the supply zone 48,265. So what kind of reaction we are getting at 48,265 need to observe, and then we'll decide whether we want to take a short trade or we want to hold on to a long trade, or hedge your trade or profit book your trade. All these things we'll decide what happens at 48,265. What will happen, I don't know. Okay, if you ask me at 48.65 what will happen, whether the market will reject and it will come down, or it will break this 48.265 and travel towards 48.450 at this point of time, I do not know what will happen at 48.265. Okay, I know that if market opens and stays above 4800, probably 48.265 may be targeted. So I will take trades accordingly, targeting your 48.265. So that trade may be a successful trade or may be a failure trade, but the context is saying that, okay, that kind of process should be followed. Okay, you are supposed to take a long trade only above 4800, targeting 48.265. That is the process with respect to the understanding of the context and the structure of the charts. Okay, so that trade may be a successful one or maybe a failure one. We don't know. Okay. And if price is able to break today's low, say like somewhere around very close to 47.9 or roughly put 47.900. Okay. If price tries to stay below 47.900, then obviously this POC will be targeted 47.720. Then the next support zone is somewhere around 590, 635. Then if this zone is also taken out, then we'll enter into these double distribution singles. Before that, this value area high can provide some kind of support, but the most valuable demand zone is at this single print zone. So more or less, we are trying to oscillate between two important levels. One is the single print at the bottom of the profile, this area, and another single print that we had this area. Yesterday also I was having the same bias that we are trying to oscillate between this single print and the single print when price was making a kind of a long liquidation profile, all of a thing. But once we started going higher, then probably I ignored this view. Now again the same thing I have taken up. Let's see what happens. Now if you draw the volume profile for this particular instrument from the top to bottom, again you can see more amount of volume concentration was happening at the top. So at any cost, bulls need to get above 4800 and trade comfortably over 4800 to avoid all these repair of all these poor structures left behind the profile, left behind. Okay, so let's see whether bulls are able to hold above this 4800 or not, or else we'll come back and fill some of the lower levels as mentioned over here. Okay, so that's all from Bank Nifty. Nothing much to discuss. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay, clear. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.